America. I'm Steve Gruber, ready to deliver an inclusive, diverse discussion on the most important topics affecting you every day, giving you better analysis and insight than anyone else, period, paragraph. I am your humble correspondent. Here are three big things you need to know to start your day today. Number one, the Democrats' relentless pursuit of darkness, actual darkness, is cranking up even more this week as power plants are going to get drilled with new EPA rules. I hope you like candles. Number two, in Michigan, the battle over Chinese factories being built with American taxpayer funds is creating more conflicts that could soon end up in court. That's predictable. And number three, so believe it or not, the 2024 campaign for president is heating up already. You know, of course, former President Trump was among those that have already formally announced a run for the White House. Joe Biden, the oldest person to ever occupy the Oval Office, is set, we are told, to unleash his sleeping through the election efforts this week, or maybe it could be called Lost in the Basement Part 2. Well, either way, here we are on the trail to the White House, and honestly, right now, Joe is not getting much love out there on the campaign trail. It seems even Democrats are leery about a guy old enough to be a great-grandfather running for yet another term. Ah, yes, for Joe Biden, who is expected to release a video tomorrow announcing his intention to run for a second term, the polling numbers are frankly awful. Listen to this from the weekend.
53% of 2020 Biden voters say he shouldn't run. 64% of Democrats who voted for Sanders or Warren in the 2020 primaries think he shouldn't run. And 76% of voters under 35 think he shouldn't run. And what's the top concern for that? We asked voters. We didn't prompt them. We said, why don't you think he should run? Well, these were the responses. It almost is all about his age and his ability to do the job. Again, these are among Democratic primary voters.
Too old and ineffective. So how confused is the 80-year-old senile commander-in-chief? Well, I don't know. Let's give you a sampling. How about you decide how old, how senile? Listen to this.
Where's he been? I think he's a little confused.
Your mark is going to be the blue one to the left.
How y'all doing?
You've got a blue mark, and that's okay.
I'll stay in my blue mark. 8, EIGH%. 8%. Build chips, 3 nano chips. The 3 nano chips and the 3 nano. The first lady, the first full-time lady. So Katanji drowned Jackson. Let's go lick the world. I think he's a little confused.
Maybe a little confused. You see, the question of competence continues to bury Joe Biden, as you saw from the NBC polling. Too old, ineffective, incompetent. And in some major networks, that is clearly being reported now. It's being reported. He's just too old. Listen to this.
And Terry, do you expect all Democrats to suddenly rally around the president?
Well, I'll leave that to our Democratic former official here. My own sense is that most Americans don't want to vote for an 81-year-old man for president.
That's right. Most Americans don't want to vote for somebody who's 81 and will be 82 a week after the election or two. Of course, that is not the only question being asked about Joe Biden. You see, it's not just that he is remarkably old and incredibly short on intelligence or talent or leadership skills. It's also that there are piles of questions about his honesty and his integrity. This, of course, is nothing new because Joe Biden has been dogged by such concerns for years. Forced to drop out of the race for president years ago for flat-out lying about his college years, his grades, his degrees, and, of course, there was all that plagiarism to consider. Of course, this is a guy who falsely claims he drove an 18-wheeler for a while, was called by the Israeli prime minister as a college sophomore to mediate the Six-Day War in the Middle East, and has met with Chinese Chairman Xi hundreds of hours. Of course, that is just a cursory view of his many laughable claims that have all been proven to be blatant lies. So if not age, what is going to come up? If not his age, all right, how about the DOJ, Joe Biden weaponizing the DOJ? And what about Attorney General Merrick Garland protecting him and lying in front of Congress about important topics? Listen to this.
In a recent NBC poll from August, voters rank climate change as the 5th most important issue. Can you make the case for it being number 1?
It's getting hotter. There are going to be more intensive weather events, and it will cost us an awful lot more money. So as that happens, as people see their farms, the crops ripped away or their homes destroyed, you watch the pressure grow. And I believe we're in a transformational moment. I think this will be one of, if not the, but it'll be one of the top 3 issues in the 24 presidential election. No question in my mind.
Now, I think Lurch is a frightening individual. No question about it. That guy is scary. Scary. By the way, hot off the presses, Biden administration now preparing major crackdown on power plants. You know, the ones that feed the nation's grid that's going to fuel these electric vehicles that they dream so much about every day. Well, the power plants are going to get cracked down on. So then what? All right, the Biden administration reportedly finalizing a proposal that would force fossil fuel-fired power plants to substantially curb emissions or utilize costly carbon capture technology. It'll put them out of business. So any coal-fired power plants that are left will be hammered and wrecked. Natural gas power plants, hammered, wrecked. The proposal, which will soon be released by the Environmental Protection Agency, is expected to require coal and natural gas-fired power plants to cut or capture the vast majority of their carbon dioxide emissions by 2040. The New York Times reported Saturday that officials briefed on a draft plan the regulation if finalized would represent the first ever federal action curbing power plant emissions. EPA cannot comment because the proposals are currently under consideration, interagency review and all that. It'll be the latest attack on your freedom, because sitting in the dark with candles is not being free. As we sit here and transfer billions of dollars to Poland to build nuclear power plants, we're going to shut down, building no nuclear power plants of our own. We send money to Ukraine and Poland, and our borders wide open, and in less than 2.5 weeks, Title 42 goes away. We have no wall. We have no plan. The invasion of America will be fully underway. Okay, it's fully underway now. It'll be worse. How about that? Much worse. There are more than 30,000 people on the other side of the border now just waiting for Title 42 to go away. The conditions are despicable, I'm told, but the majority of them are going to wait and then come across, and that's that. And they're going to continue to push bad science like climate change, and the storms are going to get worse. Well, they haven't gotten worse. In fact, storms have gotten less severe. We just have more people, so storms hit more people, but the storms themselves are no more severe. The damage is bigger. But yeah, sure. When a hurricane hits Florida today, Florida was 5 million people in 1960. It's 25 million today. You have a concentration of wealth on that peninsula. When a hurricane comes across, of course it's going to do more damage. There are more people, more houses, more fancy stuff, more boats, more cars, more everything. So therefore, the damage financially is going to be much more severe. The storms themselves, about the same. In fact, less for the last few years. But hey, I'm just here to give you facts. Fact is, I'm going to take a break, and I'll be back. It's the Steve Gruber Show.